There we go. Okay.
Yep.
So full screen. There we go. Yay. Okay. And now we can share. Matthew, did you have something to say before we got started? I see your eyes busy. You good? Okay. Advanced sharing options. Why is this so hard? Why can I not remember this? Okay, here we go. Facebook. I'll add that in later. The suspense, guys. Am I making y'all nervous?
A little.
Sorry.
No, it's just kidding.
All right, guys. I think we're almost there. All right. Here we are.
Yay!
All right, I just wanted to say a hi, and I'm gonna scoot out of here and let the guys take over. And I'm excited to kind of listen in and eavesdrop today. Mike is here to do his shaving cream challenge again.
Yeah.
And if anybody wants to do it on their own, please let us know ahead of time and we can schedule you in. I guess that's it. Ryan's running a little bit late today, but Felix, we're giving Felix the reins. We'll see how it goes. Remember, last week was just like a national interview, Felix, and now you just
Okay. No pressure.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Okay. All right, guys, y'all are in good hands with these, and I'm gonna try to scoot out of here. Okay.
Hey, you guys ready for me to do it?
I'll give a brief introduction if that's okay.
That's great. Good
So,
idea.
hi everyone. Welcome to the show, Duchenne Life with Ryan and DJ. I am not Ryan, but I'm here to fill in for him briefly. I'm a 24 years old adult with Duchenne, and I'm currently pursuing a PhD in psychology. And today we're joined by DJ and Mike. If Mike, if you want to briefly introduce yourself, and DJ, if you want to type something, I can read what's in there.
Okay. Hi, I'm Mike. I'm 40, and I have Duchenne's, and I'm from Massachusetts.
DJ says, hi, I'm 41 with Duchenne, and I'm from West Virginia. I also didn't say where I'm from, but I'm from Texas. So today we're going to start off with the shaving cream challenge that Mike is going to, if you can briefly explain to the audience what that is. And then afterwards, we're going to be talking about sort of our experiences in middle school and kind of compare and contrast our different experiences and get people to exposed to our personal stories here. And also we're joined by Matthew, if Matthew wants to introduce himself as well. You can put that in the chat. But while we wait, Mike, if you want to go ahead and explain what the shaving cream challenge is.
Okay. So I decided I would create a challenge to help raise awareness for this. And I wanted to make something that was like simple that people like us could do as well as everybody else. And basically, all you do is put your feet there, and then tag other people to do it too. It's kind of like the ice bucket challenge, but see, a lot of us don't do that because of many of us run drinks. So I just figured I'd pick something that be fun and easy to do. And if they don't want to do that, they can donate, or they can do both.
All right, that's awesome. Thanks for joining us and showing us the shaving cream challenge. But before you start, I'm going to briefly say what Matthew said. He's 34 with Duchenne, and he's from Georgia. So take it away, Mike.
Okay, here we go.
Sorry, guys. Technical difficulty.
No problem.
Is this feet? A new thing to
Mm.
hold on to the camera so I can put his feet in.
Oh, no worries. Take your time.
It's green. Muscular dystrophy. And there we go. Feels really cool.
And tell him what you usually say.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, I would say something like, I am my. And I'm doing. I'm doing the shaving cream challenge for muscular dystrophy awareness. It's easy. All you do is put your feet in a tub of shaving cream and or donate to the Muscular Dystrophy Association. And then I tag a bunch of people to do it, like 3 people. And I tell them to do it within like 3 days, or whenever they can. And then I also I have to tell them that they need to sit down when they do it, because people who aren't in wheelchairs, it can be slippery, and I don't want anybody getting hurt.
Yep.
And yeah, that's
That's
basically
cool. Yeah.
it. So usually, like every time I get like a new healthcare worker, I usually have them do it when they get here. That's the first day, and usually people are pretty good about it. And everybody's like, "Oh, it feels so good."
Yeah. DJ says it feels pretty good as well.
Yeah,
He's
it's
done it too?
yeah. Two of them did. The girl that was talking did it.
Matthew says it also makes you smell good, right? Right, Mike?
Yeah, that's true.
Well,
Yeah,
also, Mike, thanks for showing us the shaving cream challenge. Did you want to tag
Okay.
some people
um,
or
I
any
can't
3
think
people?
just anybody.
All right, so anyone who's listening, Mike challenges you to do the shaving cream challenge, and when you do it, I think if try to post it on the Duchenne group so we
Yep.
can all see.
Yep.
All right, thank you, Mike.
Yes, of course.
All right, now I guess we'll move on to the next portion of the program, if that sounds good. Mike, did you have
Yeah.
anything else you wanted to talk about for the shaving cream challenge, or we're all
Yeah,
good? Okay.
I think that's about it.
All right, thanks. Thank you, Mike.
Of
All right,
course.
so today we're going to be talking about sort of our experiences during middle school, and sort of talking about different aspects of that. So I guess how we want to start off, I guess I can start to give just a brief description. So I guess maybe the major categories are associated with potentially functioning, activities that we've done at that age, socializing with others, how we made friends, those kinds of things. So I think sort of how I started in middle school, the major challenge for me was that's when I started using a mobility scooter. Before I was able to walk for the most part. Yeah, in middle school as well, I was able to walk too, but more dependent on mobility devices because middle school is a lot larger than elementary school. So to get to classes and things like that, that was one of the major transitions that I had. Also in my school district, they did have accessible transportation. So that's also something I was getting used to, taking the bus to get to school. And yeah, I think those are the major youth transitions I had. But I don't know. I just wanted to start us off. But anyone has any thoughts regarding how we want to start this? DJ, if you have thoughts, you can type it in. So yeah, I'm not sure what's the best place to start, but if there's any questions as well, please let us know too. So DJ is sharing that middle school was hard for him because he had very limited use of his arms, so everything was harder from writing to turning papers in general. Yes, I also have similar kind of experiences here. This is my handwriting was never good for various reasons, of course, related to Duchenne as well. So that's also when I transitioned to typing. And that was one thing that I had to like sort of make sure I get accommodated for and things like that.
I'm going to jump in real quick since Ryan's
Sure.
a little bit late. And I think this is so cool because we've got DJ who's in his 40s, Felix who's in his 20s, and then my son is 11. So my son is right at about that middle school era right now. So it's almost like we've got 3 generations. That's cool. So I'll just share a little bit of my son's experience. We actually homeschool, which we love. We're in Texas, and so it's very generous, very easy with our laws to homeschool. And yeah, a lot of those same things. My son's handwriting, he doesn't really write anymore. He loves to do audio recordings and, tell stories on his little audio recorder, and in the computer, he uses a lot of verbal. He doesn't do this so much. Every now and then, if he's like really pumped about a Minecraft project that he's working on,
Of course.
he'll draw it out. But he gets fatigued, yeah, like within about 5 minutes or so. But man, and I keep hearing this in the community, it is so fantastic. But so we started homeschooling before the pandemic. But it's so cool how he's been able to stay in touch with all of his friends by Zoom during the pandemic. And
For sure, yeah.
it's like it's level playing ground, it's just he's not behind, he doesn't have to keep up, and it's just so fantastic how easy that social stuff can
That's
be.
awesome.
Yeah,
for sure. Like I think that improvements in technology makes these things easier as well as time goes.
yep.
Yeah.
Alex, was that like the actual academic classes themselves?
Yeah, so I think at that time it was more not really like how to handle the classes specifically, but like how to get to each class. That's always been the major thing, because like yeah, so I think that was a major transition for me. So like making sure I have enough time to avoid overcrowded hallways to get to the next class, knowing where that is also, because in elementary school you don't really have to worry about that. The teacher just kind of tells you where to go and things like that, and you just kind of do it.
Oh,
Other than that, like if I was in science classes, it's kind of hard to like use the equipment, things like that, but usually like you have people in the class as well to be part of your group and things like that. So those types of things was handled relatively okay. And then the only other thing was at that time at my school, we're all required to sort of have I think it's actually common to sort of play an instrument in band or orchestra. So that was one thing I had to decide. So one thing what was interesting was like I actually talked to the band directors, and they kind of like showed me all the different instruments that can be played. And of course some were large and which I cannot handle, but generally I found like what they told me was that the clarinet was relatively light and things like that, and also beyond that we also had to discuss like sort of more logistics. So for me that was sort of like a neck thing that can hold the clarinet better, and it also like making sure my feet can touch the ground. As people know, with taking steroids, that actually stunts your growth somewhat. So I was relatively shorter than most people in my grade, Actually, it probably was the shortest, but those are different things I had to like figure out, and it takes time, but there's a lot of communication involved with teachers and trying to figure out what to do and try to scope out things early as possible, be prepared for those things, um, and think about what could like happen in terms of maybe like field trips as another thing to focus on, because sometimes you have to make sure they arrange the accessible bus to come, because there's no way you can get there on your own. So those are just a taste of some of the things that I kind of had to deal with.
I'm glad you brought up the instrument because, you know.
Here comes Ryan.
Oh yeah, hey Ryan. I'm
Sorry, I
glad you
didn't mean
brought
to
up the-
interrupt.
You're fine. I'm glad you brought up the instruments because, you know, since we homeschool, I'm a little bit removed from that. But it was really cool several years ago. Oh, and DJ, I wanted to hear if you did any instruments or anything in junior high.
Yeah,
A
so
few years
DJ
ago-
said, or sorry, you want me to read what he said real quick?
Okay, let's see. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so DJ said I had trouble with that. Oh yeah, I think it's just accessibility. I have trouble with that too because the ramps were at opposite ends outside both ways, and I had to wait till someone notices me to open the door. Thankfully, I was able to leave before the. Yeah, I have the same problem as well, waiting for the door. That's a common thing. Matthew says middle school is okay. I got in trouble for going too fast in my wheelchair. But an IEP is definitely important for middle school. Dragon, naturally speaking, yes, that I've heard of that too, helps a lot when you can't write anymore or have trouble writing.
That's awesome.
Do you guys, I'm sorry, I'm Mike's mom. Hi.
Yes. Hi.
You guys have aides and stuff? Well, you don't because he's in homeschooled, but did you have an aide that brought you around? Did they?
I did not. From my end.
Yeah, Mike had an aide that actually even went to prom with them, so he could go to prom because they stayed overnight. But how did you get around without an aide?
Well, usually it was just mostly waiting for class, whatever the next class period to end, and then people
And
come
then you
out
just-
and yeah, and I asked them to get me in. That's usually what I did.
Oh. And you're in Texas too?
Yes, I am.
I like that view in the back. That's a nice.
Yeah, what's that view in the back of behind you?
Oh, this is a view of Houston, Texas, downtown.
Beautiful.
Oh, cool.
That's where I am, by the way, Katy, Texas, but it's part of Houston. DJ says I never used instruments besides the recorder in grade school. Matt had an aide. I think you're talking about you did not have an aide and you just have your friends help you. Yeah, okay. All right, Ryan, just to fill you in. Oh, sorry to interrupt. Go ahead, Mike.
I did take an instrument, but the instructor was not very nice, so I gave it back to him. I'm like, here you go.
Mhm.
It sounds like the teachers are thoughtful of your situation too. I mean, going over everything and making sure there's something that's going to be right for you.
Yeah, I mean, I
Which
was
is great.
lucky to have that and made sure to like communicate those types of needs. And I think sometimes it's hard to know what you need until like things happen, right? So
Yeah,
sometimes it's important to it's good that they had that in mind, and I'm really appreciative of that. All right, Ryan, just to fill you in, we're just giving like a brief overview of like how classes were in middle school, sort of what were the transitions from elementary to middle school, and sort of how did we handle that, and those kind of instruments being one of them.
Okay, and sorry I was late, by the way,
Oh, no worries.
but for me, junior high, middle school is actually better than fourth and fifth grade. You know, just teachers adjusted, people, the next teacher kind of heard from the teacher before what to expect, and There's a lot more things to do. I actually sang and played the piano
Oh, that's nice.
That's cool.
a little
Yeah.
bit, but I mean, I didn't go that far. The piano my aunt taught me, and then it started getting a little bit harder.
Yeah, for me actually, when it got a little harder, I actually transitioned to choir, which was much less physically intensive. But I think like just using voice wise, it was a little bit easier that way. And I think like what at least what the pulmonary doctor told me at the time, like practicing those types of things are good for your airway basically, and helps with that. So that's one thing that's probably useful associated with that. But if something less tiring, maybe choir would be better suited.
You know, if you wanted the instrument that's really going to help your lungs,
Yep,
start the bagpipes.
that's a good one.
Yeah, so for all you parents or young people out there, start playing the bagpipes. Your neighbors will love it too.
Oh yeah, practicing is the is the part that might drive parents crazy. You can do that outside and annoy your neighbors instead.
Or attract the geese.
Oh yeah.
Geese hunters will like you.
Or scare the geese away.
Or whatever wildlife.
Yeah.
I guess that's location dependent depending on where you live.
Yeah.
All right, Lindy, you said we have a couple of comments. I don't know if you want to put that in the chat. We can talk about that.
Oh, yeah, geese are mean.
Yeah.
Good guard dogs or attack dogs.
Ryan, I'll hand the reins back to you. So whatever you want to continue
you know,
with.
I'll let you know you're doing such a good job. I feel like I
Okay.
should let you keep it today. I'm a little, at least let me catch up where we're at here.
All right, perfect. Let's see what else makes sense to talk about.
Well, if you have these questions on Facebook, I don't know how to get to them. Let's see.
Oh, I don't think I have those.
Let me see if I can find this.
Okay, well, I guess another thing I can talk about. Let's see here.
You will say.
Look at Facebook and reply. I guess I don't know where to find that. Yeah,
Okay,
sorry.
I see last week's video. I don't see today's live one. Lindy,
I'll
can
take
you
care of
help
that
us?
for you guys. I'll take care of that.
Okay.
All right.
Well, let's see. I
Apologies
may
for
have
that.
missed. Oh no, I may have missed a little going back and forth. But what about social life?
Hmm.
How was that for you guys?
Yeah, so I think I guess it's like also it was like easier and harder at the same time because you have a lot more classes, so you meet a lot more people. It's not like one class and that's all the people you know, like 20 something, or at least in my experience. So getting to know people, I guess, in less time because the class isn't as long, but generally like that aspect of like talking to people sitting next to you, that was relatively more accessible in terms of compared to later on. But at least for me, that was useful. And also like all this band and instrument stuff was useful to like sort of talk about with other people. So that's always been fun and practicing associated with that. So that's been one good way to socialize. So I think like there are plenty of opportunities. It's just from being in classes, if that makes sense.
Let's see. DJ says social life at school with my friends was great, but outside that, there wasn't much opportunity to meet others. And you know, that's a great point. Dr. Natalie Truba in one of our previous webinars talked about how hard socialization can be because, you know, why would your friend's house be ADA, you know, compatible? It's like it's just not going to be. Um,
I had
Okay.
a friend. Oh, can I say something, Lindy?
I was just going to read Matthew's real quick. Matthew said,
Go ahead. Okay.
I socialized more outside of school and mostly stuck to yourself in middle school. How did you socialize? I want to know that. How did you socialize outside of school? And we'll jump to Ryan while you type that in.
I would bet part of the friend depends on where you live at, but I forgot what I was going to say.
Socializing middle school. It wasn't that long ago, Ryan. Come
So
on.
I had this one, I did church stuff and scouts, so I got some of that outside, but I had this one friend that I used to go to his house a lot. In third grade, I was able to walk to his house, but then it got to where I didn't have a lift, and his mom used to pick me up and put me in a vehicle, and I guess I hit puberty early, so by the time I was middle school started, she couldn't pick me up anymore and put me in her car. That or ate too many tacos, one or the other. But that's my excuse now. So that did kind of change the socialization because I live in a rural area, so it wasn't too easy to get to other people's houses. But with my church and scouts, I did have a group of people, small group of people my age that I did stuff with. And the neatest thing about that is half of those guys I did scouts with are in the medical field now. So I don't know if that's because they got used to helping me or being around me, but I take some credit.
Change lives, Ryan.
Well, you should, Ryan, as well you
They're
should.
like, man, this guy needs help. I'm gonna.
I just want to make a comment real quick, and then I'll read DJ's message here. So I've got a good friend who just logged on, and I know that her son has recently gone through that transition phase. He's in middle school also. No, wait, he might be in early high school. Do y'all have any tips or suggestions, or just even sharing your experience about what happened with friendships during that transition time? And while y'all think, DJ says, I hung out with 2 of my friends at home and a lot of cousins as well for outside school. There are benefits to a big family.
I had a couple of friends that we used to travel around my entire town with, because I live in a small, I wouldn't say it's a small town, it's a pretty good sized town. And we used to be all over the place. We used to get into trouble, and I used to get my chair stuck in the woods, and they had to pull me out. And we had a lot of good time. I don't see them much anymore. We try to get together every now and then, but they're very busy.
Yeah.
And one of them hasn't gotten vaccinated. They're afraid to get me sick. So I mean, I understand that. Right. But middle school was great with me, with my friends and all. We used to be all over the place.
I guess depending on when you start using a wheelchair and stuff like that. But the younger the kids are, they can maybe be a little meaner because they don't understand.
Yeah.
So as you get to middle school, they're developing too. They start learning more.
Yeah, I had problems with some of the kids I went to school with, but I usually gave it right back to them, because I mean, they used to pick on me because I was handicapped. But I'm actually friends with some of them now because, well, they grew up, thank God.
Yeah. But my favorite one was we had this one guy that we were 13. He said he was a black belt in karate. And he'd like tell everybody what he thought, he wasn't afraid of anybody. And he's used to people like cowering. And I don't cower or get intimidated by anybody. So I'd talk to him just like North said, if you were in that wheelchair, I'd kick your, what? I said, if I wasn't in a wheelchair, I'd like you to try.
Yeah.
That just is like,
that was like,
he couldn't comprehend it.
Yep.
I
You
only
know,
got
that's another
two
great
black
point.
eyes though, so it's okay. I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Sorry. That was another great point. And this is so amazing because, you know, clearly I'm female and I'm just looking into this like middle school male culture. Is like, that's kind of when the guys get like, yeah, I'm all tough and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I'm got these big muscles. Was that a problem? Was that weird? Talk to me about that. Y'all know what I mean. Talk.
No, they just didn't like the fact I was handicapped. They wouldn't lay a hand on me though. They were kind of afraid to do that.
Yeah, one time I had this person randomly rub his blood on my homework,
Oh,
for
God.
example. That is some weird teenage adolescent things going on. So there that kind of thing happens all the time. So I mean, sometimes just like picking your battles as well, like what is serious enough to get the administrators involved and what's not. So that's also a
Yeah.
key aspect to think about as well. But yeah.
Were y'all able to tell what was just normal teenagers being teenagers versus what was because
Yeah.
of the Duchenne?
You know, before
Yeah.
we go too far, I think we're behind on a few.
Yeah,
like
let's do that.
Matthew commented, said, "Let me go first because I'm old and I'll forget."
Oh, great, thank you.
He didn't say that part, but yeah. So Matthew had church and football games and events. Got more friends when I got older. Just did my schoolwork. Didn't really have much time to socialize at school. Socializing is my main thing I did at school. For me,
Yeah, and DJ says, for me, I had many friends in grade school, but after I transitioned to junior high, only about half would continue being my friends. I would like to say it didn't bother me, but it did. I credit my
Yeah.
best friend for helping me make new friends in junior high to help make it better. I had friends who would speak with people who try to mess with me, but they just stopped for some reason.
Yeah, that happened to me too.
so Anthony's wondering if it was difficult to explain DMD to friends,
Oh yeah.
and was that harder to make friendships for you?
Yeah, I was
Mm.
kind of in a sort of transition phase where I did use a mobility device relatively more, but I was still mobile enough to get around like and sit wherever I need to, basically. So I think like that part actually made it more confusing for people because they're like, why are you in a wheelchair if you can walk? So one person even asked me like, I thought you used a wheelchair because you were too fat. Those kinds of things. So there are these misconceptions that exist, and sometimes it's hard to. And I get like sometimes I get annoyed trying to explain to every single kid who wants who I interact with, and sometimes that gets stressful, just doing that over many times. So I can understand like that could be frustrating as well. So those are just various things that happen in my life.
I'm going to leave y'all with a prompt before I go. I'm going to go tackle some dishes. They're calling my name, but I would love to hear about teachers and gym teachers. And I just hear so many horror stories, you know, on the DMD mom groups. You know, people just, even today, it's like, come on. So how did y'all handle that? Was that a big issue? Did y'all have like amazing teachers that just got it? Or did you feel like you had to advocate for yourself every single day, not only with friends, but also with, you know, the, how do I want to say it? The authority figures. I'm going to scoop. I'm going to go dishes, but I'm listening.
No. Some of my teachers were good, and some of them sucked. But I mean, most of the time, I don't know. I guess it was half and half. But we had a specialized gym class that me and the kids that were handicapped play in. Not play, but you know, we do like hockey and capture the flag and stuff like that.
All right, before we actually go on to that, I want to briefly read DJ's thing. So he says, I've always had problems who would just start driving my chair when I wasn't expecting it.
Oh yeah, I know that.
Yeah, you know the one I hate is that people would stick their foot under my tire and make me run over their foot.
Oh yeah.
Like, dude, just knock it.
There was
Oh,
a
you
few
hurt me.
times where my scooter almost flipped because it's a 3-wheel. So I wasn't using a wheelchair yet, but that almost made it flip several times. So I was like, don't do that.
Yeah. Luckily,
Or they
my
would
chair
ring
now
your
is very
bell.
heavy. So
Yeah, that
Okay.
too. Like you're
Yeah,
gonna
now
get
it's-
hurt.
yeah,
doing
now it's
that.
like, well, it's your fault.
Yep.
Have you ever had somebody come up to you to like touch you on the leg? Can you feel that?
Sorry,
You
what
ever
was
get
that
that?
part? Like,
Do you ever have somebody like come up and touch you on the leg? Hey, can you feel that?
oh,
I used to get that all the time.
I did not have that
Oh,
before.
really? Yeah, they'd come up, tap me up. Hey, can you feel that? Like, I'm not paralyzed.
Yeah,
You know, I have a lot of people think I'm paralyzed.
I've gotten that too.
But, you know, for me, I had a rough fourth grade. My teacher, I went in a wheelchair. I had a big bad anger problem. I know it's not middle school, but kids would mess with me. I got dumped out of my chair all the time. It was a manual chair at the time, and I remember one time a teacher came up to me and said, "If I see you out of that chair one more time, I'm gonna write you up and give you detention." Because people kept dumping me out. I'm like, it's not my fault, but middle school was pretty good. I had a I had these like my teacher in sixth grade. I had a crush on her, but the other teacher that anyway they took good care of me, like in a good way. Okay. Oh, Lindy wants to talk about girls too. All right, Lindy. I mean, if you don't like talking about girls, okay. So Matthew says my gym teachers were good. One teacher would let me referee games. My mom would just tell the gym teacher about D&D. Good point, Lindy. Yeah, I had a regular PE class, and I just participated as much as I could. In the locker room, all I had to do is change my shirt, which sometimes took me longer than everybody else, but for just as much time. But
Yeah, for me, I actually was exempt from doing PE from in my school. So I was just like left to do what I need to do. Basically, they had me put me in the library basically during PE.
oh, yeah, so I just participated as much as but I wanted to. Like they did softball, they let me throw overhand and be the pitcher. Let's see.
Uh,
So before we go
okay.
to love interests, I'll read DJ's comment. I had some teachers that were great and others not so much.
Yeah.
Everyone was nice. I did have one that I'm pretty sure hated me because I wasn't in special ed. I just had to be there for PE. You know what? I'll tackle love interest. I first liked a girl in like first grade. So she would kiss me one time on the cheek. I had like 7 or 10 boyfriends. It was okay though. I wasn't last, okay. But yeah, third, fourth, fifth, sixth grade, I liked the same girl. I'd write her name on my arm, then wash it off before I got home. But it is kind of awkward that you can't really just, you don't quite know how to respond and how to
Yeah.
act, especially when I had a friend who was jealous and liked her too. Anyway, he ended up dumping me out of a chair a few times because of it. But then middle school, then high school. It's hard though because it's almost like you're watching from the outside. It's kind of hard to know how to say, "Hey, I like you," or "I want to go on a date with you." I didn't go on a date. I went on a date when I was 18. And it took me like 15 minutes to ask the girl. We were crossing the street. I had her all by myself. Hey, she was my neighbor. And I knew her from church, but still, it was, it's not easy. I don't. Any of you guys have a girlfriend in middle school?
I've never had a
High
girlfriend.
school.
Not
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah. Don't say never.
I've had crushes in high school and middle school, even now, but I'm actually a better friend than anything else for girls, I think.
Yeah.
DJ said I had a crush on one girl since 4th grade. To be honest, I still do. Outside that, my love life was non-existent.
You know, also I want
Non-existent
to.
is for me too.
Okay.
But yeah, go ahead.
Also, you know, I like the word crush. There's so many people. If I say, "Oh, I had a crush on so and so," and you know, they're like, "Oh, you want to have sex with them?" I was like, "No, I just had a crush on them."
Yeah,
I think that's maybe one difference for us is, you know, maybe okay, everybody at D&D, we're more romantic than everybody thought. I can't say that, but you know, I think because maybe the physical stuff's harder for us to get to or something. Maybe that's why when we say crush, we're thinking more just you like somebody, you care about them, you want to eventually get to that point. But
yeah, I know what you mean. Exactly, that's how I feel.
yeah,
But
All right,
usually
Matthew.
girls,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
yeah,
oh yeah, girls usually, if I told a girl I had a crush on her, she would stay the hell away from me. Usually, because when they're at that age, they're like you said,
yeah.
there's something that you want to do other things with them. But you just want to really be friends, really.
And
Matthew says, yeah, I like girls at an early age, but there were a lot of girls who were rude or just nice and wanted to be friends, so I would stop trying for a while and then try again.
Yeah,
and you know, sometimes for me, I wasn't very good at hiding if I had a crush on somebody. So there's this one girl I kind of liked. And man, these guys in 6th grade, I was standing by her. They grabbed my hand and made me slap her butt. So she turned around and was like, it wasn't me.
oh my
Um,
God.
or there was one I liked that she
Mhm.
actually pushed me in the girls' bathroom. Like I said to go, I was like, man, I was disappointed. I thought girls' bathrooms are fancier than that.
Mm.
Well, yeah, by all means, Lindy, you know, everybody has their sexual preference. So just
Yeah.
because you're a male at D&D doesn't mean that you can't like other men or can't be attracted to males. You know,
That's true.
don't have to identify as a gender.
Yep.
You know, and DJ says mine is always known, but she's always been cool about it. I think age tempers things. And my thought is, so I'm going to go off on a tangent here, guys. Hope that's okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, in English, we have one word for love. In Greek, there's 7 words, different
Oh,
words for love. There's different types of love. There's eros, which is romantic love, and I can't think of the other names right now. But there's one that's like a love like for your. Do you love somebody like yourself? Do you give your life for somebody, or do you like love somebody like you love all people? So, like for what DJ says, I have a best friend that we care for each other a lot. It's um, if she wasn't married, I might be interested in her, but she's not. And her husband's a great guy. Oh, agape, okay, love for child. But I feel like there's a love higher than romantic love, and you can have that. It's just when like maybe you think the same and you feel the same. So I think that's probably the kind of love we're talking about. I mean, okay, I see DJ means love is love, but you can love a friend and care about them higher than it. But sorry, DJ, I got what you meant there. Yeah. See? Did anyone have to take hormones to start puberty?
I think this is more of a question for when you take steroids, basically. So for me, it didn't really happen, to be honest with you. So I mean, for hormones, that was something we've kind of considered at the time, but I was kind of worried about what that would do to my current situation. And given that it's stable physically wise, like we didn't want to like disturb that, if it makes sense. So that's kind of from a medical point of view what my perspective was. Like if something isn't like absolutely necessary at the time and it may influence your current situation, like I tend to opt towards the conservative side, but of not taking as much. But that's just my perspective.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Felix, that takes us, we all have different, different steroid uses. Some of us don't use steroids. And yeah, so I don't know. DJ and I never used steroids, probably because we're older. And my doctor didn't like steroids. He wouldn't put me on those. So,
I have,
but and so maybe it's an age thing. There's not
Yeah,
as
I
many
mean,
of
but
older
I
guys.
mean, steroids have their own bundle of side effects. So there's also things associated with that treatment as well.
yeah, they were talking about brittle bone disease if I went through the study.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, I don't need that.
Yeah, that's what I
That's
have to
what I'm
face because of that. Yeah.
And that's something you want to go through with your doctor and
Yeah.
yourself and your family.
Yeah, we're not here to give medical advice. We're just giving our
Yeah.
own perspectives on things.
And remember, it's okay to get more than one opinion or do some research. And when a neurologist says something that I want to get a second opinion, do that. When it comes to your life, your body, get a second opinion. Get a third if you have to.
That's like when I got my trach. For decades, I was putting that off because I didn't want something like that. And it took me actually losing my life for a few minutes to make a decision at 37. But I mean, I think the trach is something that people have to make their own decision on, because it is kind of an adjustment for sure.
Oh, that's good. Let's read what Matthew said real quick.
Yeah.
I loved a girl in my early 20s. She loved me too. Said she couldn't take seeing me like I was, so I let her go. You can be happy single too. It is what it is. If I have a girlfriend, cool. If I don't, cool. And that's the thing. So many, it takes time.
Yeah.
They have to see you different. Now, DJ, I may have let you borrow my doctorate, but it's not a medical doctor. Okay, it's just a PhD. Sorry.
You can just change the pH and change it to M.
There you go. So I had to drive 2 hours to go to my neurologist. I hated that. This is answering Libby's question. Did you guys miss a lot of school? I would have perfect attendance. Then I had to miss a day to go see my doctor 2 hours away. And I'm like, come on, can't they give me perfect attendance? It's not my fault.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Ew. I'm not bitter though. Stupid schools. Okay, anyway.
Well,
Yeah,
when
I guess I
was
want to. Oh, go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
I missed 3 months of school in 9th grade because first I got pneumonia. I was up for 2 weeks, and then a couple months later they put in metal rods in my spine, so I was up for 7 weeks. So it was like I missed a lot of school that year. But normally I probably every year I was probably up for about 2 weeks, if that.
Yeah, I think I also I kind of at one point missed law school because that time there was swine flu, if y'all remember that. But yeah, I kind of got a type of flu. It wasn't the swine flu, but it was something that kind of knocked me out for about 6 weeks from school. So that's happened.
Yeah.
But in terms of beyond like the infectious like diseases kind of things, I haven't really missed that much school. It's somewhat of a drive for me to get to the neurologist as well, but not as much as Ryan. I think it's like about an hour or so. So that occasionally I've missed school because of that. But generally, I guess not a ton unless something happened.
Yeah, my mom was old school. Like I had to be puking my guts out to not have to go to school. You know,
Same actually.
but yeah, it's like you're not sick. Oh, okay, so DJ missed school often because if it rained, I wouldn't go usually, or if it was snowing because I had to go outside to get the different buildings. Yeah, I don't know about.
Yeah.
I've seen snow like 5 times in my life here, so
Yeah,
it melts
like
my
even
middle of
less
the
for
day.
me. Down
Well,
here
I
in the
got a few.
south.
I got a few years on you, Felix.
Oh, okay.
Right now, where I'm at is 100 degrees.
Yeah, I don't know what's the temperature right now. 90 something it says down here.
I'm in Arizona. We're always going to say, "Oh, we're hot here." So. Ooh, DJ had meetings with the truant police. See, DJ, we knew you were a bad boy.
The truant police, they came and they had to talk to them.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in middle school I didn't have the problem with the different buildings because it was just one big building. I guess that was more of a college thing that it got problematic and sometimes I had to skip class.
Yeah, after hearing why they apologize.
That's good.
So, what about academics itself? My son can tell you the most detailed things about cultures and mythology, but math, nope.
Same here.
Well, I will say for that, I don't think that's necessarily anything to do with DMD or anything. It's just some of us are good at stuff and some of us
Yep,
some aren't.
that's true.
And
Cultures and
interested
mythology.
in some things rather
Yeah,
than
if
others.
culture and mythology is your thing, that's your thing.
Yeah.
I'll talk about myself, which I'm good at. When I had trouble with math starting in middle school when it came to algebra, because I would do it and I'd get the answer, but I wouldn't show my work. Teachers are always mad
Oh,
at
yeah.
me, so I kind of quit doing it. And finally, my 4th time at taking college algebra, I realized, wait a minute, all that stuff before was just building up to this. And when I realized what it was building up to that I needed to, I actually studied and did well. I got a C, but I passed.
Yep.
See, that's another thing. Yes, it's about interest. Literature talks about dyscalculia.
I think it's like
There,
numbers, dyslexia for numbers, right?
oh sure, show up the PhD guy. Okay, and dyslexia.
I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Okay, hey, it works for me too. Dyslexia more common in DMD and other learning challenges.
Yeah, I definitely have some.
Literature always irritating me.
So, yeah, so I guess that is number because it's calculia.
DJ says my academics suffered a lot because I just couldn't open my books or have access to my notes like everyone else. History and the FFA where I excelled.
I think I was good at history because I could read stuff and remember it. But that is a thing that it gets to the point where does get harder to open books. I've gone to like 14 years at school after high school, and I finally developed the ability, had to be able to remember stuff.
Yeah.
Because you can't take notes. You can't. It is hard.
Well, I'm not sure if this is related to the changing times or anything, but a lot of my textbooks were accessible to the computer, and I was allowed to carry a laptop around. So that was very helpful for me. So typing in terms of that made it easier. Of course, like I couldn't type as fast as other people could write, essentially. So a lot of times I'm missing out on things, but yeah, like Ryan said, a lot of it depended on memorizing as best as possible.
So for me, my
DJ has a
first
great
4 years.
memory as well.
Yeah. Oh, he does. My first years of college, we had textbooks, and I had to somebody get it out of my backpack, and like I had to ask complete strangers, "Hey, can you get this book out?" After a week, they
Yeah.
weren't strangers anymore. But then it was a lot nicer when you could start doing it just on the computer.
Matthew had an aide take notes for him, or he used the computer.
And I wish I could take notes to save my life. Actually, I don't. I'm not very good at studying. I don't know.
Not me.
My note taking was copying whatever they said. As best I can.
Yeah, and so DJ had eye gaze at junior high. I had to get my honor roll status for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was always on the honor roll in middle school. High school, different, totally different thing. Lindy asked if toileting was a problem in middle school.
I used the urinal, but as for number 2, that didn't happen at school. Never would that ever do that there.
Well, for me, what I had this math teacher in 7th grade that would lose your homework all the time. Then I'd have to stay after and do the work, which he thought because I was cheating or something. And after he made me keep doing that, I started copying out of the back of the book. But I would go to the bathroom while I was at school. I'd hold it, like urine and stuff. That one day, man, I had to stay after. It was winter time, so I had to hold my jacket in front of me because I wasn't able to hold it.
Oh, God.
And there were a few times that stuff came out the other end too, and I had to, get my mom to come pick me up. But oh, Matthew found a teacher to help at school. That's nice. One time in high school, I had to have 2 teachers. One like lift me up, the other pulled my pants down and put me on the toilet because I couldn't get a hold of my mom. She's up at my grandma's. That,
Yeah, for me, I was still able to go at the time. It was more about finding the time to go was the major problem. But that was it from my end. And DJ says definitely a problem. I would usually meet my mom in the parking lot to go behind the van.
when I was in junior college, I had to have my mom come meet me at school in the middle of the day because I was there from like 9 to 5. So. I'm going to tell you guys something funny though. One time in 6th grade or 7th or 8th grade, I was in wood shop, and this guy put a board and a vise. I was using a saw on it, and the thing fell. The saw landed on my lap. Luckily, it was a jigsaw. It turned off before
Oh,
it did anything. But like, oh, I'm okay, but still holes in my pants. Don't want to
Oh,
ruin
wow.
my jeans. Anyway, the teacher's like, "Well, you need to go check it anyway." It's all right. Well, go check it anyway. Okay, so I go to the building next to us. It's the 6th grader building, and there's a bathroom there, but my wheelchair I can't fit in any of the stalls. So, I stick my head down my pants and feel my leg, see if it's bleeding right when some 6th grader walks in. I've never seen anybody run so. He came in, saw me, he ran. Like, oh, okay, leg's good. I got out of there.
yeah. DJ said I found myself concentrating more on holding it than doing the schoolwork. Yeah, I mean, for me, like now that I'm not mobile, I had to deal with that in college for sure. So, that wasn't something I dealt with in middle school, but in college, yes. Matthew also says definitely try to get your son's school to get you a Hoyer lift in case your child has a toilet.
Yeah, find somebody that works there in the office or something that maybe has experience or you trust. My school nurse, when I was in 4th and 5th grade, would help me if I had to go to the bathroom, but I could still, I could help walk and stuff.
Something on parents' radar that the middle school kids probably need to talk about, won't bring up.
You mentioned it earlier, I think.
DJ says we are into just about everything.
So what are we
Sorry, I'm
talking
not sure
about?
what the yeah, sorry, I don't know.
Well, Lindy asked above, so what kind of things are guys with DMD up to in middle school that their parents don't know about?
She says, or is there something that should be on parents' radar that the middle school kids probably need to talk about but won't bring up? Yeah, Matt says I don't like to tell parents if I was getting bullied. Yeah, I think that's a shared experience there in terms of yeah, to talk about the bullying and how to handle that, and when is it time to bring it up with the administrators, and or is it just something you need to work out with the teacher, those kinds of things. I think it kind of depend on the degree, but I don't know if you all agree with me on that.
It's good. Yeah, you need to tell somebody. I told my parents everything. I don't know why. I did. But yeah, it's understandable if you don't want to tell somebody you're getting bullied or messed with. My problem was I'd always like fight back and made it worse. Or I'd tell them what I get mad at them. And so you do that, they're gonna make it worse. But it's good to tell because a lot of times the kids that are bullies in the younger grades, they're going through bad stuff at home. That's very commonly. So anybody out there that's in school, somebody's bullying you, you don't tell somebody, not only is it gonna give you an outlet or somebody to talk to, but maybe it'll make people aware, maybe that kid at school will get help. Some of my bullies later became friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, so DJ, I never either, Matthew, but I had no problem sharing with friends to fix the problem for me, and they did. I used to always tell them about my 4 big brothers until they realized, wait a minute, how old are they? Oh, they're all over 18s. Going to the school never worked out well. They usually blamed me for it anyways. What DJ said. I think schools have gotten better. There's more training.
Yeah.
I was actually going to become a teacher for a while. And I had actually got far enough to do student teaching, but then I got pneumonia and stuff. But they used to teach that when students act out, like we get upset or even sometimes get bullied, that it's you trying to get attention. And they later learned that no, like for me, I wasn't trying to get attention. I was just mad that I couldn't walk anymore and I was in a wheelchair. I didn't know why either. So
Yeah, I think yeah, I guess in my generation, since I'm younger than y'all, but I think it has changed in that direction. Like the school does take things seriously now, at least from where I'm from. I don't know if that applies to every school. But yeah, I think I've seen that change.
we were so Matthew got made fun. So I know we were talking about middle school, but high school was harder, got made fun of a lot. That's one thing in high school. Guys mess with each other. They're, like guys play sports, they joke with each other a certain way. And it can be a little hurtful sometimes. All right, let's go see some. Okay, let's see. So it's a great topic. So how did you deal with the transition to wheelchair emotionally? From what I know is generally people, you transition to a wheelchair, especially depending on how prepared you are for it. But no matter what, you still can't fully prepare for when you can't walk completely or but usually it's either anger or depression and sadness. Or a combination of it.
Yeah, my transition was relatively rapid. So it happened to me in college. So I broke my leg, and that kind of caused pretty much immediately caused me to be non-mobile at all. So that, yeah, for a while it was depression for me, I guess, from my end, and just thinking about like how do you deal with the different things, and of course, like wearing a diaper, right? Like that's an experience when you're not mobile, and that's just like something very different than before then. So I think it's like all these challenges start happening, and it's just like well, for me it's like pretty recent, but yeah, it was kind of a difficult time to deal with.
It happened to me overnight. I could walk the day before and then
Oh,
the next day I
mhm.
couldn't. Yeah, I was about 9 years old. I mean, I took it, I mean, it sucks, but I mean, I took it okay, I guess. It was kind of hard getting around the house because all I had was a mobility scooter and the thing was huge.
Oh, that was me too. Scooter.
Yeah. So it was hard to get around the house. But I mean, it was hard.
Yeah. Just to read the chat a little bit, so we have everyone. Matthew says it didn't bother me. I just took what comes. DJ says the transition to the wheelchair for me was great because it was just a relief because I don't have to worry so much about falling anymore. I was able to keep up with everyone else, and he was 10. And Matt agrees.
I was also 10 when I started using a wheelchair. For me in third grade, people were like, they thought it was funny to bump me and knock me, make me fall down.
Yep, me
I got to
too.
wear, yeah, I had to wear elbow pads and knee pads. It got to where, I landed on my butt so much that I guess I started bleeding a little bit. I don't know exactly what, but so in third grade, his last day of school, I was in speech therapy, and I went in. I was supposed to get some kind of prize or something. I fell down right in the doorway, and my legs like went out. I did the splits, and that summer I crawled a lot. It hurt for so long, and by the time next year started, I couldn't. It was just too hard to get up. I could stand up, but I couldn't walk anymore. My mom just went ahead and put me right in a wheelchair because she didn't want me to risk falling anymore.
Yep. Yeah, that was kind of my transition as well. I think it was just like delayed somewhat, but the same kinds of things basically.
Yeah, it's just these steroids. Yeah, and whether you're on steroids or not, it affects all of us a little bit differently.
Yeah.
We all have it happen at different ages. And that's, none of us know really for sure exactly what age things are going to happen to us. We just have to.
Yeah. And when is
Yeah.
it safe for you to not use a wheelchair until you should, right? Like that critical threshold. When is it important to make sure that safety is happening basically? And sometimes it's hard to know. It just happens suddenly, right? Like what Mike said as well.
How old were you guys when you were diagnosed?
I was 4.
Yeah,
About
I
the
think I
same
was.
for me.
Yeah, I was 2 years old when they found out because I just wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't getting up the right way. It was taking a while for me to, do things that normal kids my age would do.
My 4th grade teacher noticed that I didn't get up or run as fast as like the other kids. It wasn't so much that I got up necessarily slower, but just the way I got up was different. And my parents were older. That's just because we're older and he's watched us get up. But no, she's like, no, you need to go see a doctor. And went to the doctor and they found out. Did you guys? So Lindy asked, did you guys lose friends when you transitioned to a wheelchair? I don't think I did.
I don't think so either. I
For
don't.
me, it was like because it happened in college, right? So that was my first year
Yeah.
in college.
Yeah.
So I didn't actually like necessarily lose friends, but I lost opportunity to bond with my class essentially as much as I wanted. So that was so it was more like not losing friends, but not gaining friends during that critical time. So I think like it's always like at the beginning of your whatever that academic period, right?
Uh-huh.
That is important to make those friends because then everyone already knows each other basically. It's kind of hard to get into those circles.
And DJ, I would say I didn't because I was still in grade school. I think I corrected that for you, right? I think for me, I'm in a small town that it's pretty close. There's like only two major religions. I'm one of them, so people kind of do things. I think people probably prepare their kids and told them that eventually I'd use a wheelchair. Although I did have one guy that was born the same day as me at the hospital that used to tease me that I was going to die at 18. But that was his,
That's
and
horrible.
he didn't make it to 21 himself, but it's like karma, but it's not nice to say. But it's just kids just don't think. So doing it at college would be easier in that way. That
Matthew
they're not
says
gonna
he
tease
wears
you.
sunglasses at night.
Well, yeah, too bad. Keep the lights out. Matthew, are you a vampire or something? But yeah, so
DJ
I think
said,
parents
DJ
told,
says
yeah.
the same thing as you, Ryan. Our community was very close.
Yeah, so I think kids kind of do. We only had one high school here, so
Yeah, I think I was kind of in a different situation. I'm part of like one of those larger cities. So like in my high school year, I had 1,000 people in my class. So just to give you an idea of how many students there were. So I guess it was a little bit different. People were asking more of like asking questions mode rather than knowing who I am and start teasing me. Although that does happen. I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but it does happen. But I think people didn't really know who I was, basically.
yeah, Felix, I think your class was bigger than my whole high school. But
We have
evidently,
overcrowding over here.
I'm from a bigger place than DJ, evidently.
Anthony
Anthony,
asks, "Oh, go ahead."
was it difficult to explain DMD to your classmates? Well, Felix, you were not in middle school. It was one thing. I actually didn't like explaining stuff to people.
Yeah.
Back then. But now, yeah, I'm great. It's easy, but it is harder when you're middle school, high school.
I mean, I got frustrated after like I don't know the 100th ask, right? It gets kind of annoying at times. It kind of felt like some kids act as if you owed them an explanation for things, and that's when it really got under my skin. Under those circumstances, but I mean, kids were kids. Kids are just kids at that time, so it's just kind of hard.
Hey guys, I gotta get going. I got
Oh,
some
no
things.
problem. Thanks for
All right.
joining us, Mike.
Yeah, thanks
Yeah,
for being here.
Guys, I've been listening in. It's great what you guys are doing together.
nice talking to you guys.
Thank you. All
All
right.
right, thank you. We're just starting the honest conversation.
That's awesome.
Right.
Thank you.
BJ said, take care, Mike.
You too.
And Matt was quoting a song.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what that song is, unfortunately, but
Um,
I don't either, Felix. It's okay.
no, wait, no.
and then DJ said, I don't believe my close friends knew everything, so we never really discussed the specifics about it.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
Yep,
more or less the same for me.
For the longest time, I tried to hide it. I'm in a wheelchair trying to hide that I have muscular dystrophy. I didn't do a very good job.
Yes, Lindy, sing.
Yeah, come on.
Okay, am I going to sing it now?
Yeah.
Sure.
Y'all know this song. You ready? Y'all are talking. Wear my sunglasses at night. Yeah, see? Is that what you meant, Matthew? So I can, yeah.
Oh yeah, he's
I don't know that song. I'll have to look it up.
I don't know either.
Who sings it besides
That's
Lindsay?
also part of the experience too. Sometimes I just miss like references among my friends sometimes in middle school. I don't know if y'all had the same feeling.
Yeah, that you know, we don't go to the parties, we don't go to the somebody's house to hang out, stuff like that. We what? I can remove Mike. Why would I can remove you? Oh no, never
Oh yeah,
mind.
that would
Don't
work.
just don't report it to the other thing. Let's see, I think this will work. Let's see.
Oh, there we go.
I got okay. There we go. So I can see you. Okay. So the school nurse told classes about it.
Oh yeah, I think that happened once for biology class in high school. But it wasn't pointed to me directly, but yeah.
Okay, Lindy has one question. Yeah.
That probably helped not to, yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I
probably.
guess I overall wasn't like, I mean, I was like you, Ryan, too. Like, I was like, kind of like, is this even your business sometimes? Like, it's just like the most randomest people. But I don't know if that like is too antagonistic at that age. But generally, just thinking about why do you need to know is kind of my thoughts there when I was that age.
You know, I remember kids used to come up to me, and I'm going to do a direct quote here. I don't like the word, but they'd ask me, "Are you retarded?" They'd ask me that, I'm
Mm,
like, "Well, no." I said, "Why?" "Well, you're in a wheelchair." You know, they thought I was mentally handicapped because I was in a wheelchair. But so Lindy says her son's PT emphasized keeping her son involved in pop culture.
Yep.
So you're talking about stuff with other kids. I I'm not good at that. I didn't know pop culture at my age. But I also don't like the pop culture at my age because my siblings are all 15 to 22 years older than me. So now, yeah, it'd be nice to be in the loop more. So that is a good idea because you know we're not driving around cars with our friends all the time. We're not hearing the newest stuff, so that's good.
Well, the word these days is you can call yourself edgy.
Okay, Felix, explain that to us old people.
It just means you're not doing the popular thing, basically.
Oh,
Like
that's
it's
what I
a
always.
something cool that you don't follow the norms, basically.
Oh, what do we used to call that in our day? Anyway,
Yeah, so everyone agrees that it's good to make friends
yeah,
that way.
and not just from somebody at DMD, anybody. I'm like 20 years behind in my music. I'll discover, hey, I found this new song that came out in 2000. Oh, okay.
I feel that way actually too. I've missed a lot of different pop culture things. I don't know. It seems like integration wise, it's just hard to get into those conversations sometimes.
Yeah. Now, I will say something. I'm going to take a soapbox here. If I offend you, I'm sorry, but you should be offended for this. Today's country is not country music, okay? It's so anyway, I always listen to the old stuff. If you're out there listening right now and you think today's country music is country music, you need to listen to some country music. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna join the bandwagon and talk about rap. I hate rap. I don't know what y'all think, but I really hate rap.
So my thing is, don't like the pop culture and don't listen to the music if you don't actually like it.
Yeah.
You
Do
know,
what you like.
yeah, I'm not going to go start listening to, you know, mumble rap because I want to fit in and be. Okay, I don't want to fit in with anybody that. I'm just kidding. Okay, Marilyn Manson. Oh, you're one of those, huh? But yes, so accept in pop culture, but don't force it to like something you don't like.
Yeah, I think like as teenagers always fall in the trap of finding your identity, right? And you want to follow what everyone else is doing, but that's not, you have to discover who you are and who are the people that like what you like as well. So
And Lindy, a lot of these questions, I don't think it's so much necessarily DMD specific. It's just that age
Yeah.
group specific. Some kids are going to be, I want to listen to this stuff. I don't want to be like everybody else. Just like the other people that don't want to be like everybody else. So you end up all doing the same stuff. But then there's the ones that want to do what everybody else does because everybody else is doing that.
yeah, like I brought up Magic the Gathering last week. I had a hard time getting people to play that with me, so that's an example.
All right, I think we're kind of getting a little off here. Being my soapbox about modern country music. But did you guys feel more pressure to be extra nice or share interest to fit in? I never did, but that's because I don't care what well, I do care what other people think. I want to think I'm nice and stuff like that, but um I didn't really feel like I needed to be extra nice but in school because at that time I mean, there is a point where you feel like you have to be nice to people if you want people to help you.
Yeah.
And to an extent, you should be nice to everybody. You want everybody, to help. It's nice to help people, but you don't have to go out of your way just to be nice to everybody.
Yeah. You just need to be appreciative and grateful for whatever they do. Like that's what you need to do.
Sometimes there are times that it's almost like you do try to fit. It's fun to have somebody that likes the same stuff as you do.
Yeah.
And it's very tempting to like, hey, this is fun. Let's do this. Maybe you'll do it once or they do it once, but don't expect it all the time because may not like it or they may not.
Yeah, and it's just a life thing, like what Ryan's saying, just not D&D specific necessarily.
So DJ says me either, Ryan, but I did respect others mostly, but some didn't deserve my respect. And
Yep.
like that's true of all life and everything. And Matthew said facts, which you're right. This takes me to one thing I want to talk about. Something came up the other day. Somebody's talking about our age in D&D years. And, I get, our life expectancy isn't as long. We can try to compare us to like air quotes, which you can't
Oh, yeah.
see, that what's normal aging. But really, I think for me, I've tried to steer away from DMD specific things that I'm not, I'm 39 years old, whether I have DMD or not. I am the age I am. And, there are DMD specific things to consider,
Yeah.
but, don't be nice to people just because you have DMD. Don't listen to somebody's music just because you have DMD or.
Yep.
But I say that though, but don't just ignore DMD. But
Yeah, I think you mean more like on the social side of things, right? Like not.
yeah, not medical, but yeah, don't pretend you don't have DMD.
Yeah.
Medically, but yeah, socially, there are times you're gonna have to say, well, I can't go somewhere because I have to get somebody to drive me, or but for the most part, don't try to make it DMD specific. Yeah, don't treat us differently. Yeah, I mean, don't treat us any differently than you have to. One time, just for in 5th grade, the class was going to a field trip somewhere, and they were saying, well, we can't get Ryan there. There's not a bus that'll take him. And oh, okay. So they're telling me I wasn't going to be able to go. And I really wanted to go. So my mom, who normally just kind of let things happen at school the way they happened, she told the teacher that the school that if Ryan can't go, nobody could go, which they were all shocked about her about that. But I was willing to just, okay, I won't go because I didn't want to mess it up for other people. And in that situation, that is a time to say, hey, you know, I've got DMD, I want to do this, but I need some help. That's when it's okay to advocate or have somebody advocate for you. Yeah. And there were a few that I didn't go on. They do the thing in middle school where they went to like a water park. And I went in 6th grade, but it was so hard to have people put me in a non-wheelchair van, have a wheelchair in the back. And so the next years, I just opted not to go because it's just too much hassle.
Yeah.
Plus, I was very shy and wouldn't let anybody help me. So the one of them I rode on the bus with like in my wet underwear because I wouldn't let any teachers or anybody help me change my whole clothes.
Mhm.
Do we have any? So we've been here an hour. Well, I haven't been here. But you guys have been here an hour and a half. Do we have any last questions that need to come up? Oh, the school didn't have a bus.
Oh, okay. Mm.
With yeah. Yeah, by the time I went back and worked at the high school 10 years later, they had a van even that they could use for students.
Yeah, for my area, they do have a bunch of buses basically with the lifts now.
Yeah, my the handicap bus. Yeah, we only had one handicap bus at the time. So, they couldn't send that on the field trip for me because they needed it for other
Mhm.
people still.
And I think
Um,
with newer technology, things get easier in some respects, just as time goes, basically.
But also, people with DMD, people with disabilities and wheelchairs are doing more now.
Yep.
Are there any more questions? Let's see. After they got a bigger one, I could go on more. Okay. All you guys are awesome, especially the pirate.
Oh, Matthew,
Well, what the heck? Okay, that's all right. Hold on.
that gives us pressure to do the same thing.
Yeah,
I think it's under
video
at-
filter.
or- yeah, video filters. I think
There,
that's
I
where
can have sunglasses too. Let's see.
let's see.
Oh, see, we're like middle school kids. We're all trying to do the same thing so we can be cool
How's
too.
this? Alien.
There we go.
Let me see, where's the eye patch? Oh, there we go.
Cool. All right. Oh wait, that's not what I want.
Pizza Hut.
Okay, now that we're doing this crazy stuff, see, we can be crazy too. Are there any more questions for anybody that? Lindy, how are your dishes coming along? Do you have any questions about your dishes? Yeah, I think we've had fun. It's good to be silly sometimes. That doesn't work on. So yeah, I think we can do this. Get silly. Oh, okay. Well, it's nice to do PT for him. I think if there's no more questions. And since Lindy's doing PT, I think we'll leave just another minute here for any last questions coming up. If not, I think we're good. We're done. All right, talk to you later, Matthew.
All right, see ya, Matthew.
I don't know about you guys. I'm hungry.
Yeah, me too.
Lindy, that's talk to you later.
All right. Well, I guess we'll end it here, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Next up
All
is
right.
high school.
All right, next time. All right, I should be on time next time too.
All right, good night.
All right, good night. Remember, find family, friends, and Duchenne on social media.
And message us if you have other questions too.
I always have a way
Fantastic.
to get to us.
All right,
All right, bye.
bye.